So, I wasn't always a priest. And I wasn't even always Catholic. See, I was baptized Catholic as a little baby, but then I was raised Protestant because my dad was Protestant. My mom was Catholic. And what we did when we were about your age is we went to whatever church my dad or my mom felt like going that weekend. So if we slept in, we go to the masses later. If we woke up early, maybe we went to the Baptist church. But it was very unstable growing up for me. And so, when I turned 18, I did what a lot of 18-year-old kids did. I stopped going to church. I just stopped. And it drove my sister nuts. Because my sister really wanted me to go to church, right? Because sisters, they're always looking out for the best of us. Always remember that. And so my sister was trying to hoodwink me into going to church. And she'd come up to me and be like, Steve, there's this girl I want you to meet at church. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Really? What's her name? And she came up with a name. And I was like, okay, all right. So I went to church, and the church was Ogden Christian Fellowship on 2nd Street in Ogden. The girl never showed up. But the music got me. There was drums, there was guitar, there was rhythm. I kind of liked it. I saw a lot of people in that room that were not ashamed to worship God. And that impressed me. So after that week, my sister goes, well, she didn't show up this week, but she'll show up the next week. And it happened for another week. And finally I asked my sister, Michelle, does this girl even exist? She said, no. But I enjoyed it so much that I remember about the third or fourth weekend, I finally had the courage to lift up my hands in praise of God and make this prayer. God, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. That's a profound prayer. And I found myself helping this little Christian church. I started serving internships. I started doing youth ministry. I started doing jail ministry. And eventually I was a paid Protestant minister. But then I had a fall from grace. I started partying a lot. I started not living what I believed. And I stopped going to church again. And this time, a friend came up to me and he asked me this question. Steve, what is it that you really believe? And I looked at him and said, I don't know. Because that whole time I was serving in the Protestant church, I really didn't know who Jesus was. Really. So I started researching. And I started reading. And you know what I started reading? You know what I kind of hoped was the church that I'd go to eventually? It was the Mormons. I really wanted the Mormons to be right. So I read a bunch of Mormon books. And I said, I can't believe this. And I started going backwards. And eventually I went to Barnes & Noble and I picked out a book. It was called Early Christian Authors. And I bought it. It was put together by an Episcopalian. But there was a section in it that would change my life forever. It was a section on the Eucharist. Because the whole time I was a Protestant minister, I had no idea what the Eucharist was or is. That the bread and the wine becomes the body and blood of Christ. That's what they believed in the 2nd century, the 3rd century. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's the Catholics. It's the Catholics. I have to, oh no, it's the Catholics. My mom was right the whole time.
That's harsh.
But I still didn't feel worthy to go back to church. But it was actually John Paul II. You guys remember John Paul II? And he passed away. And it was on the news continually. And And I remember on the TV it said, "Be not afraid." It was John Paul II's motto that he took from Christ. And I decided, you know what? I'm going to be not afraid. And even though I'm weak, and even though I made some mistakes, I'm going to try to give everything to Jesus like he did. So, I went and I found a priest. And the only place I could find a priest was St. Joseph's Catholic Church. And I met with Father Ken Dopando. You guys remember Father Ken? Well, some of you guys might. And I remember I told him my whole life story. And at the end, I was like, "Father Ken, this is going to sound crazy, but I think I'm called to be a priest." And he looked at me and said, "Well, let's start by making you Catholic." So I did. I entered RCIA in 2005. I received First Communion. I was confirmed in 2006. And then I had to wait 3 years to enter the seminary, to pray and to think about it. And I was eager and I was excited to enter the seminary. But then tragedy kind of hit my family, one at a time. Right before I entered seminary, my dad dies of cancer. My first year in the seminary, my young brother Timothy commits suicide. And then 2 years after that, my other brother Justin committed suicide too. 2 brothers, 2 suicides. And you know what I struggled with? Like, how could God be calling me to be a priest when I couldn't even help my own brothers? How could God be calling me to help somebody when I struggle helping myself and my family? And I took it to my spiritual director because I was just going to leave. And he told me this: never make a decision when you're at the bottom. And he gave me this prayer to pray every day. And after I got ordained, I actually put it on my prayer card at my ordination. And it's the Suscipe prayer by St. Ignatius of Loyola. Take, Lord, and receive all my liberty, my memory, my understanding, and my entire will, all I have and call my own. You have given all to me. To you, Lord, I return it. Everything is yours. Do with it what you will. Give me only your love and your grace. That is enough for me. And that last line became my mantra the last 5 years in the seminary. I taped it on my door, and every time before I left my room, I made that quick prayer: give me only your love and your grace. And let that be enough. Whenever I felt like I fell in school, it doesn't matter. Give me only your love and your grace. Whenever I felt like I wasn't worthy of something, give me only your love and your grace. Because a vocation, priest, sister, married, primarily is this: trusting God completely with your mind and your heart. And doing both. And that involves us making some radical prayers sometimes. I brought prayer cards. I didn't know there was going to be so many. I'm actually excited that there's so many. But if anyone wants the prayer afterwards, please come up to me, grab it, pray for it. And pray that you always have the courage to make a prayer like that. Because God's love and grace is enough to satisfy your mind and give rest to your heart, even when it's broken. No matter how broken it is, God's love and His grace is always, always, always enough. God bless you.